Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I've got some more easy to make spring decor, so let's get started. For the first project, I started by gluing a wood spool into a teacup and then gluing a small wood round on top of the spool and then letting the glue dry. I then turned the teacup on its side and glued it to the saucer. After the glue was dry, I added some air dry clay to the cup and made a few small clay frames to use as the door and window. Next, I made several clay flowers and added them around the sides and bottom. To make the stairs, I'm using some dominoes from Dollar Tree. I glued one under the door and then I'll add the rest later. Once I had all the clay pieces on, I set it aside to dry. Next, I started painting some of the clay elements. I then glued more dominoes together to make a staircase and then painted that as well, along with the rest of the clay elements. After I had everything painted, I dry brushed some gold paint over top the clay. Next, I attached the stairs using E6000 and hot glue. I then glued a ceramic bunny to the saucer, again using the E6000 and hot glue. I also glued on a small cat to the top step. To finish it, I glued small pieces of moss onto the saucer and then added a few sprigs of greenery. For the next project, I'm using a papier-mâché egg, or at least that's what I thought it was. It was actually a paper-covered plastic egg. I started by cutting out a piece from the front. Next, I decoupage some strips of book pages to the inside and outside of the egg. When the glue was dry, I gave the entire thing a coat of antiquing wax. Next, I glued the egg to a grapevine bird nest. I then glued small bits of moss inside the egg along with a ceramic chick and a few eggs. To finish it, I added a few bits of greenery and some distress ink around the opening. For the next project, I started by cutting some scrap pieces of wood to make a box. For the back, I cut a curved edge on the top using a jigsaw. I then sanded all the edges and used a spade bit to drill a hole at the top of the board. Next, I assembled the box using wood glue and nails and then filled the nail holes. I then painted the entire thing. When the paint was dry, I distressed the edges. Next, I decoupaged an image to the front of the box. To finish it, I gave the entire thing a coat of antiquing wax. For the last project, I'm going to make a clay bunny. I started by gluing a small styrofoam ball to a styrofoam egg. I then rolled out some air dry clay and covered the entire thing. I smoothed out the clay using my fingers and a little bit of water. When I covered the head, I put a little extra clay on the front. I probably would have used a small styrofoam egg for this if I had one, and that would have probably given the same result. This is the first clay bunny that I've ever made, so I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. For the ears, I started by gluing a toothpick into the head. I then made the ears and slid them over the toothpicks using my fingers and a clay tool to blend the clay together. I used a clay tool with a ball on the end to give the ear a little bit of an indent. I also glued toothpicks into the body to attach the feet, again using my fingers and a clay tool to blend the clay together. I also like to add a little bit of glue to the toothpick before I put the clay on. To make the arms, I rolled out a log shape and then cut it into two, blending the clay where it meets the body. I just used a ball of clay for the tail. I then set it aside to dry overnight. Next, I painted the entire thing white. To make the face, I first used a pencil to draw it on and then used a paint pen over the pencil lines. I used a little pink paint on the cheeks and ears. I then covered the entire thing in antiquing wax. To make the whiskers, I tied a knot in a piece of hemp cord and then glued it to the face. To finish it, I wrapped a piece of eyelash yarn around the neck. I don't think it turned out too bad for a first try. I'll definitely try making a few more. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I'll see you in the next video.